Good Sharks fan! Welcome to another thrilling and exciting episode of Pucknology After Dark. If you have any questions or comments, please use the hashtag Pucknology After Dark. I'm joined by my two regulars, Chris JWS and AJ Strong. Guys, if you want to get through your night, go for it right now. Don't be shy, guys. You guys can talk.
Well, first off, Chris is still on mute. What were you saying now? What were you asking for?
Oh, I was saying if you guys are having your beers of the night, by all means, go ahead and share them.
No, Eric, Chris is having his beer, the lucky bastard. So go ahead, share yours. I unfortunately do not have a beer for tonight's show. I had to switch to vodka because, let's be honest, the first period kind of drove me to that.
Yeah, I'm drinking a Kostiker Schwartz beer here tonight. I'm going old school German style.
Must be good. Yeah, AJ, the first period would drive some fans to drinking. But the Sharks won 3-2, a nice come-from-behind victory. This is where we saw that drive Wednesday night, where the Sharks, were out of it. They clawed back into it, only to get to be screwed over by the refs. But I digress. Tonight they were down 2-0 early to the Arizona Coyotes, where it could have been really ugly, especially late there. I believe Niemi had to make a nice save to possibly be 3-0. But then the Sharks kind of, got their head out of their butts and came back. They had two nice goals by Joe Pavelski. Then Barclay Goodrow with a sweet shot in the third period with the game-winning goal. And then Joe Pavelski completed his hat trick, his first one, I believe, of the year, if I'm not mistaken. That made it 4-2 the final, and Sharks win their 29th game of the year. They avoid essentially going under 500, even though their record would suggest otherwise. We'll start with you, AJ. What did you think for tonight?
Well, I think we both agree with Wingo's assessment in the first intermission. It was, probably the worst period they've played all season. That was, I don't understand why they just continue this. I mean, a considerable lack of passion, a lack of energy, a lack of will to win, a lack of heart, and that's been their motto for some time. I don't know they have to shake that. They were outshot in the first period, 12-7, very lackluster. The penalty, I don't even want to get into that right now because that'll send me on a tangent about referees again from Wednesday. But a couple things that really stuck out for me was, number one, oh dear Lord, that goal from Arcobello. Nemo had to have that. I mean, Mueller got caught high, and Mueller he's showing that he's just not ready to go yet, at least from my opinion. But he gets caught high. Dylan played it right. He's down the middle. He's trying to break up any pass. He left the shooter for Nemo, and Nemo got sniped. I mean, Arcobello, right? Who the hell's Arcobello? And yet, boom, he lit up Nemo. Just what looked to be way too easy. Nemo has to have that shot. I also thought there was something to be said about Hurdle getting demoted tonight, moving from the third to the fourth line, and Tierney moving up. I think that's speaking a lot about Tierney's game, the way it's coming through. But they were outshot the entire game. They tried to pour it on a bit more in the second, which they did. But, dear Lord, if you got no Pavelski in this game, we've got Vlasic out, we've got Braun out, and obviously we've got the notable injuries of Torres and Brown. Not that any of these players are going to make up for Pavelski's contributions. Can you imagine what this team would be like if Pavelski was injured for 5 or 6 games.
It would be very, very scary because he pretty much is the only real star player contributing at the moment right now. Chris, I'll go to you for your thoughts on the game tonight. But yeah, AJ, you make a great, valid point. If Pavelski doesn't, become that guy, Carlson's kind of slowly quieted down a little bit. Couture's been here and there, and let's hope he's okay after that shot that he took while blocking a shot tonight. Marlowe's just, I'm at a loss for words. But Chris, your thoughts tonight on what you saw in this 4-2 Sharks victory?
So was I the only one having flashbacks to that game against the Tampa Bay Lightning last year, where basically Pavelski grabbed us up and carried the team to victory? I know we played them on Sunday, but I was having flashbacks to that game anyways now because it felt a lot like that. Like Pavelski kind of just took the team on his shoulders and carried them to a win. I don't know if that's in one part, you can look at it as a bad thing or a good thing. I think he is the emergent star right now for the Sharks. We already thought that last season, but he's kind of taken over the mantle as, he is arguably the best player on the team right now. It's, you could argue after last season maybe it's because he played with Jumbo a lot, but I think he's kind of taken that mantle as kind of the guy, the best guy. I said this last time we barely beat Arizona. We shouldn't underestimate the value of a win against a bad team because we've learned this season this is not to be taken for granted.
Right.
I mean, it was a frustrating win to watch for most of that game, but we should keep in mind these have hardly been a guarantee this season. So if we get a win against a bad team the hard way right now, they need every win they can get if they really want to make the playoffs. And that's kind of my initial thoughts. Not a lot stood out in this game. I mean, it was kind of just it reminded me of when the Coyotes were good and they played the Sharks tough, and because Sharks can't do anything the easy way, can they?
Oh no! I mean, come on, they are the San Jose Sharks. I mean, making it easy would make it too nerve-wracking. And I say this because remember all those people were calling Giants the 2010 Giants and heck even the 2012 Giants, and hell for that amount of Game 7 in the 9th inning when they were kicking the ball around the outfield. They call Giants baseball torture. I'm like, please.
Dude, Andres Torres scared the crap out of me.
I mean, torture doesn't even begin to describe Sharks hockey. I mean, let's be honest here.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I tell Giants fans. It's like, we all know those people who aren't hockey fans who are Giants fans. Like, seriously, you do not know torture. Maybe you did 10 years ago when you were, chasing forever, but you don't know torture. You really don't. Yeah, unless you're a Sharks fan.
Well, what are we thinking about this defense, boys? It doesn't sound like Braun's coming back anytime soon. Doesn't sound like what did they say during the intermissions or whatnot? From what I had heard, they said, I believe, that Braun was unlikely to make the outdoor game. They said he was going to do what he could, but he was unlikely. I didn't hear them say what they were planning on with Vlasic, if he was going to make it back in time. But either way, I think Mueller continues, at least in my eyes, to prove that he's just not ready yet, and I do feel like they kind of rushed him. Excuse me. Hold on, jeez.
Well, I would argue he is ready. He's just not ready to play constant top 4 minutes. Where he does. I think it'd be easier if we could bring him along as a 4-5 swing guy, where some nights we can play him in the 4 spot and have him play a lot of minutes. Some nights we can kind of let him, give him a break. But on this blue line, he's just not going to catch a break. He's pretty much expected. Honestly, with the healthy guys right now, I would say after Dylan, is he our second best defender? Maybe Tennyson.
No, I see. I would take Tennyson. But see, that's what I'm saying is they've got, I believe, roughly $7 million under the cap. You've got a glaring hole in defense. So, didn't we talk about Ekman Larson not too long ago? And
yeah, I mean that was one of the dream deals we had on the on one of our previous episodes. Is that Ekman Larson at 23. You probably have to give up a lot for him, considering that he is the backbone of Arizona's defense. It'd be interesting. But I would also look back at when Vlasic came into the league in 06-07. They had a lot better defenseman core. You had Hannon, who is still he was a better player at the time. You had Rivet. You also had Ehrhoff. You had a lot of people where it's like, okay, you don't have to be the number 1, 2, or 3 top defensemen on our team. Here, I think Wheeler, yeah, he has been rushed, but also at the same time, I think they were going to be taking that huge jump forward. And I would almost say it'd be like the defensive version of Goldobin, where maybe he needed some more time before he made the big jump.
Yeah, he's got to marinate. The fact that I'm wearing a shirt that is older than Mueller, I think, that speaks that speaks volumes.
Very much so. AJ, if you could stand up again really quick. And
so for me, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So guys, I want you to look at that. Reveal the teal starting next Saturday. Let's all be in teal.
Speak, AJ, so we can actually see it.
Oh yes, there we go. This was the shirt that we all wore when the Sharks made history, knocking out Detroit in 1994. When you literally could not walk around the city of San Jose more than 10 feet without seeing somebody wearing this color of a shirt. It was fantastic.
And that's treats to the passion of it all. And yes, for the rare time I'm wearing a black shirt because, well, I was trying to, look a little slimmer to the girlfriend when I came over tonight. But that's beside the point.
See, I'm wearing a black shirt too, but
Chris is trying to say this team doesn't have enough power.
So on the subject of Mueller, kind of continuing that, as a whole, I'm not that worried about him. I think he'll be fine. My main worry is that I think we are rushing him. I don't think it'll damage his progression, but we're asking an awful lot. I put it, kind of in our pre-show notes there. Are we? Okay. I believe we've lost 5 out of the last 7. I would have double-checked the schedule, but are we being a little hard on this team that's missing, arguably, its 2 best defensemen? If it's not 2 best, 2 of its 3 best, most likely.
Absolutely. And you just made my point there. It was a better defensive depth when Vlasic came into the league, where he was going to be that top-notch guy, as opposed to Mueller, who's coming in and he's kind of being thrown at everything, hoping that he can stick and get the quick seasoning and get underneath and read the NHL instruction manual quickly to get going.
Well, and you would hope Larry Robinson is going to have something to do with helping him out in that regard. We do have one of our first comments through the Twitter machine. We have Patrick, Generation X-Wing, who does posts some amazingly awesome stuff during the Sharks games. Me and him have gone back and forth with a few funny photos and whatnot. But he's saying Ekman Larson will not help this San Jose defensive core. We need stronger, solid physical D-men, and he's suggesting the other Mahalik that we didn't have.
Oh, you mean Zimnik Mahalik, the brother of former San Jose Shark Milan Mahalik.
Correct, sir.
And Randy, if you by chance are watching this, I was waiting for that because I needed to take that for part of the drinking game, along with the countless times I heard Desert Dogs.
Yeah, I had 3 drinks.
Did you hear Dan
alone from Brody?
You hear Dan Rusnowski, the resident or the desert residents of Arizona, or something he's referring to them as? Or no, it was like the desert Arizona residents, something to that effect, or he had a couple of variations on that. But I thought that was pretty funny that he was kind of actually trying to avoid saying desert dogs. I wouldn't want to encourage drinking. He showed Scar.
There you go. Hey, so let's touch on some of the game points that we have jotted down here. Pavelski netting his 4th career hat trick, and let's be honest, Pavelski doesn't score hat tricks. He must lead the Sharks in most in 2-goal games because he just doesn't get hatties. And of course, it has to. The only way he can get it is off a empty netter. We got McClellan getting his 300th win finally. It took about 5 games later than I think we all thought. And something that I tweeted out at the beginning of the game. What's it going to take for us to see Stalock again? Like, I was kind of expecting him to get this start tonight, and nada.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting to the point where are you going to just go and just have Nemo go on a 40-some-odd game run into the postseason? Because that's what it's looking like right now, guys. I mean, and if you're doing that, you're essentially making his case to get big bucks out of him. And we all know that Nemo's going to probably ask for a decent raise. He could probably get a hell of a lot more by signing with Philadelphia because we all know how much they like to overpay goaltenders sometimes. It's kind of ruining their bargaining plan as it is for signing Nemo. I would think that they just are depending on him, and either there's something wrong with Stalock that we don't know about, or the confidence that was once there heading into training camp is gone.
Well, I think it's probably more just we've seen Todd McClellan's ever so persistent, want to trust the veteran. Like, to a fault, he will always pick the veteran guy, and I think this is it playing out in net, where he will always depend on his guy. It's the same reason why, you'll see Scott Hannon out. Between Hannon and an inexperienced guy, he'll go out there every time. Generally, that was the case with, how many times John Scott drew into the lineup over guys like Tierney. Although lately, that trend has finally gone the other way, and Tierney has even proven himself to the point where I think McClellan may not scratch him that often. But it just seems like with McClellan, you don't have to just prove yourself. You have to, you don't just have to prove you're better option than the veteran guy. You have to prove you're better and then a mile more. That just seems like the kind of McClellan MO when it comes to veteran guys.
You, sir, must have the bigger resume if you want to start for my club.
It is frustrating, but I see the method of the madness in a way. I understand why, I understand the why he wants to go that way, but to me it just seems like a very conservative way of thinking and approaching. It's not aggressive. It's not trying to get better. It's trying to maintain.
Yeah. Well, and talking about not being aggressive, can we spend a moment talking about the god-awful power play tonight? The Sharks were 0-1 on their first power play. They barely get a shot off. During their second power play, it started off a little bit better in that they were getting into the offensive zone this time. But, oh, dear Lord, there were times they were just standing around. I mean, Phoenix was just in a box and barely having to skate because the Sharks weren't looking for open lanes. They weren't moving their feet at all. It was, let's see if I can fit this puck, either pinball it or sneak it by somebody. Like, how the hell were you guys not moving? You have to find those lanes. You have to create your chances and not just, Ovechkin the thing and I'll just park here and just wait for something to happen. I mean, I'm still not happy with these special teams. They did get the kill. And, yeah, okay, they scored on a power play, but let's be honest, it was right at the tail end of a 5-on-3. Their PKers are tired. They just have killed a minute 49 of time. Then they get called for it. You get 11 seconds of 5-on-3, and about 8 seconds after the guy gets out of the box from the 5-on-3, boom, Pavelski nets it. So they were worn out. I think it was kind of a lucky shot. I'm still not convinced with these with the special teams here, and that always seems to be a key to the Sharks, especially when you look at their postseason numbers over the last couple seasons. Almost every single game that the Sharks won in the postseason, they scored on the power play, and whenever they went over, they lost. And that means so much to this team. I don't know if they just don't focus on it enough, but it's bitten them in the ass in the playoffs before, and it wouldn't surprise me if it happens again if they make the playoffs.
Well, the thing is, really, and getting back to that 11-second 5-on-3, Marleau fanned on a shot or pass where it almost went out of the zone, which would have been horrific. And then they were just, here's Joe with the puck, Joe with the puck, Joe with the puck, and they were just standing there. The problem is that they're going back into the regular realm of, all right, I have the puck. Okay, I'll rip it around the boards and get it back to Joe. He knows what to do. And then, eventually they're going to go up and have two guys on Joe. Sure, that's going to leave, 4-on-2, but it seems like that doesn't matter. There just seems to be, we had that one game where they scored a power play, tic-tac-toe, 6 seconds in. You would kind of think that, okay, here's what we figured out how to make this work.
Well,
now I'm not gonna be like one of those guys who are gonna be like, oh my god! But at some time, you can't just go with 8 to 10 passes around and not try to get the shot on goal.
No, it's not a shoot the puck situation, but it's looking for shots, moving around. Exactly what you're talking about is it's okay to pass, but if you look at that tic-toe thing, guys were moving to places where the passer knew they were going to instead of just standing there. And they, for my money, they never look for the shot pass enough. They don't look for the backdoor shot where you can get a guy sneaking in that is so wide open. And you've got Thornton as your passer who can just sneak it across the crease. How do you not look for that backdoor shot more often? And it's funny how the power play has evolved as Thornton's been here. If you remember, it used to be that Thornton would almost always set up directly behind the net. And then teams figured that out. And then it was setting Thornton up on the half boards. And then teams started to figure that out. And then there's been a dump and chase kind of thing. And it's just, you know what, go with what was working, and that was finding the open spots, moving your feet, finding that backdoor options, getting the lanes open. I just don't know what I was looking at today during that second power play where everybody was just standing there watching.
Don't be complacent, I think, is pretty much it. Your thoughts?
Honestly, for me, I would just like to see them just shoot it more. Like, just throw it at the net. The old Drew Remenda thing, shots on net. Yep. Get it on the net.
But you got to have somebody there to clean up the garbage, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, that is part of their problem, though. I think is that they don't really have that on the first power play. There is no grinder to get in front of the net. On the second power play, at times they do when Wingles is out there, but generally they don't. That might be part of our problem, though.
Well, even Hurdle got in there a few times.
Yeah, Hurdle can a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems like they would. You just throw pucks at net. You know, it might be weird angles and going. I remember a playoff game against Detroit where Logan Couture is like down near their goal line. He takes a shot that, you know, there's no way in heck that goes in, and it goes in. You know, and I granted they have good shot, you know, blockers on other teams and all, but I mean, it just seems like that they just hold back a little too much. And granted, somehow they're one of the top 10 power play units in the league. So
I was about to say, it's funny for how much we complain about it. Their actual efficiency has been top 10 all year long, and at certain points they've been number 1, number 2, or number 3.
Right.
I think part of it is like we are spoiled. We have had a great power play at times throughout the last 10 years. And we always compare them to the very best, well, not just the best power plays, but the best clicking power plays at a given time. You know, at a time, like say a point in the season where Detroit is just boom, boom, boom on fire. You know, we're not just comparing them to the best. We're comparing them to the best at their best.
And that's the thing. And
That
the prime example of that is in the 06 playoffs against Edmonton. If we were able to do anything against Edmonton on the power play, I'll tell you this for sure. Edmonton would have taken all those liberties against us, cheap shot-wise, penalty-wise, because they would know that they couldn't because of potential.
How many times did the Sharks get pushed around in the playoffs? And how many times did they get pushed around that Drew called them out on it? That there was no repercussions. If you hit, Dustin Brown should have gotten clobbered last year when he kneed Hurdle, and there was really no fight, no backbone from the Sharks, and the way that they caved when Mahalik got taken out by Torres in those playoffs, I mean, they completely turtle-nosed. Where was your fight? That's the one thing, and I know we were talking about comparisons, but that was the one thing that I do kind of miss about the Sutter-era coach Sharks. When you had guys like Ricci and Nolan and Scott Thornton, these guys were not going to, take things lying down. If they felt that they got cheap shot or anything like that, someone for the other team was going to pay severely for that. You all remember the Nolan hit on what was the guy's name from Dallas? Jason something?
Marshall.
Yeah, Marshall. I mean, we all remember stuff like that. Well, clearly I remember the hit. I just didn't remember the guy's name, but yeah,
Oh, I remember that because rude for the suspension. That suspension essentially took an entire week to dissect all over Canada, and then they had to fly Nolan out to New York to say, "Oh, we're suspending you for 12 games for that."
Yeah, I remember that.
Chances for the Sharks to win the division and essentially put them in the number 5 seed permanently for the rest of the year, and they did nothing. Not to start a conspiracy theory talking him, but that's none of my business.
that ain't none of my business, though. I could use it now. I've got tea, but I got beer, so.
There you go. But see, that's what I'm saying is the Sharks during that Sutter era, when you had those players, Danfus and Nolan and Ricci and whatnot, and Brian Marchment, those are no-nonsense guys that weren't going to let a lot of that crap happen. That unfortunately guys like Marleau kind of, it's that whole water off a duck's bill type thing, and no one seems to ever pay for their transgressions. And when you have a team that when the opposition is looking at them, knowing they can run them and do things and not be held accountable for it, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I would say two things there though. One, hold them accountable by winning, but two, it does cut both ways though. I'm trying to remember what they called it. You know how like any type of sports system these days is called something ball. You know, after the Moneyball thing. But I remember there was an article a couple years ago about Vancouver and their like aggravating ball or whatever it was, where what they would do is they had those third and fourth lines full of divers and just cheap shot artists and general fuckers. And what they would do is they would get guys to take penalties for, they would lay a cheap shot, get a guy to take an instigator, and then put the Sedins on the power play. So it cuts both ways, where you have teams that will intentionally take advantage of, it's kind of a balance though, because one, you can't let them just get away with anything, but two, you do also have to maintain that whole, win on the scoreboard.
Yeah,
ultimately, like, because it's one of those balancing acts. I think
it's situational, but you have to know the bigger thing is you can't let a team just continue to take liberties and do nothing about it. And the Vancouver Canucks, I think, found out about that in 2011 versus Boston. You want to talk about a team running over another team physically with zero response? There is a perfect example.
Well,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, that's a great example because the second that Nathan Horton went down, these guys got riled up. Rowan got out of the game, and that started Boston saying, okay, we're down 0-2. They just cheap shot one of our biggest players. We need to send them a message. And that lit a fire underneath their ass so much that game probably contributed them to winning the Stanley Cup more than anything else. I mean, look at it this way. Later on in the game, I forget who it was, but somebody was going up to Alexander Burrows saying, oh, hey, you want to bite my finger now? You want to bite my finger now?
Yeah, that was Marchand.
Was it Marchand?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Marchand. And that's the whole thing is it was the same guy who was well, it's because of the whole Alexander Burrows biting the glove, and then they used that in the next game or whatever where he's throwing his fingers in his face, and then later you see Marchand, not a really oversized player by any stretch, whereas this, one of the Sedins are pretty, they're taller boys. And Marchand is just speed bagging him, and there's zero fight. Sedin is looking around for the referee to make a call. He's looking for the call, and even the official's going, dude, if you're not going to fight back, I'm not fighting your battles for you, man.
That, like I said, that was Vancouver game though. They didn't do the fighting. They were the ones who went out there on the power play after the penalty got called. But yeah, kind of steering in a different direction here. So Vancouver. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry to jump in, but the one more thing about this, and then we'll jump back. It might also contribute to what Doug Wilson was saying in the offseason, where it's like, we want guys that are going to be teammates, not coworkers. I think we can judge from 2006, and for that matter, last year with Hurdle, that if you want a response, doesn't have to be the one where you're going to take them out or whatnot, but make them hurt in some way, some form. Don't let them get away with it. Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
So, on the subject of Vancouver, they just went final 5-2 over Boston in the last few minutes here. So, with the win tonight, though, the Sharks do maintain their second place in the division, but Vancouver has...
It was a game against Boston, and we're not getting reports out of Vancouver that there's fires and rioting happening?
No, because they won.
2011 called AJ. It wants to So that gives them 65 points. We have 66, as of tonight. But they do have 3 games in hand. We played 57. Vancouver has played 54, and if you want to get on me for saying we, go fuck yourself. So we
are a team. We are united in teal.
Exactly. And I don't care either way. If someone wants to not refer as we, it doesn't matter to me.
Hey, we are giant together. Oh, sorry, wrong team.
Yeah. Yes, together again. In teal. So they're 1 point back, but they do have 3 games in hand. Calgary is now 3 points back with 2 games in hand. So little more padding there. They actually have to win a few. We can look at Vancouver. They're as good as ahead of us with 3 games in hand at this point. But Calgary, we do at least have a small lead on. Los Angeles, they have 3 games in hand on us. They're 6 points back. So essentially, the Sharks are a pretty solid number 3 at the moment. So I guess the question is,
were you surprised that the Sharks were able to pull off a win without John Scott in the lineup?
Not at all. I'm sorry, when was the last time he was in the lineup? I thought he proved he wasn't a goon by scoring that goal.
I don't know.
He hasn't been in the lineup since he scored that goal.
Like I said, he's already doubled his career goal-scoring output for his career in the season, obviously reversing the post-Teal syndrome that has eluded former Sharks for years and years gone by.
Clearly, Scott is the one who should be getting the C on his jersey.
Okay, now you're talking way too much something.
So I'm really trying to find my notes here. I don't think I can find the right ones at the moment. But
well, I liked your trade ideas.
Which one?
Talk about that for sure.
Just one last thought on John Scott, real quick. So I don't have my notes in front of me, but I remember after Brody Brazil said, he's proven he can be more than the goon. After that last game where he hasn't played since. But
so let's scratch him.
Yes, exactly. That says to me more than anything possible. But referring to him as, maybe he's not as much of a goon as we thought. So I decided to look up Jody Shelley's numbers. Now, if we think of Jody Shelley, what's the first word that comes to mind?
Goon.
Yes, he was the quintessential goon. So I found this interesting. I looked up their career stats in penalty minutes and goal scoring. So Jody Shelley averages slightly more minutes per game. John Scott averages roughly a little over 2 minutes a game in penalty minutes per game. Jody Shelley's like 2.5 minutes. So pretty comparable, goon to goon. Jody Shelley, on average, scores twice as many goals per game as John Scott.
Oh, dear Lord.
And 3 times as many points per game as John Scott.
Oh,
I rest my case.
This can't be a surprise to anybody. It can't be a surprise.
I'm just saying, when Jody Shelley has better career scoring numbers than you,
it's time to, yeah. Just hang him up, man. Just hang him up.
Okay, we can move on from John Scott now.
Well, let's get into. We have today's the 13th, so we're essentially just over 2 weeks. The deadline, I believe, is March 2nd. Yes, gentlemen.
Yep. Next 3 Thursdays from now, or 2. Yeah,
I'm doing
roughly 3 weeks.
I only have my phone available without any Wi-Fi, so.
All right, so
AJ.
Just a scotch under 3 weeks, and if Chris would stop taunting me with the damn beer, I'd be happier. But so we're roughly just under 3 weeks out. What do we do? What are the Sharks are they going to do anything? I can't see them doing anything. We've been talking about this now for a few weeks. There's Nemo is completely in flux with this being the end of his deal. Doesn't look like they're going to trade him because they're riding him like a rented mule.
Well, that doesn't necessarily mean they won't trade him. I mean, it could be them featuring him prior to the deadline.
What, they didn't have enough tape on him already? I mean, dear Lord, Stalock's gotten less starts at this point than he got last year, despite what Wilson and McClellan said at the beginning. But you've got, it's painfully obvious, Braun and Vlasic, much more so with Vlasic, but this team seriously is being destroyed on defense. They've got the money to play with. Do you make a move for somebody, or are we just going to ride it out? We're going to stick with what we got. We're not trading picks. We're not trading prospects. We're not looking – obviously, we don't want a rental, but do you foresee any move being made between now? Now, that's the question. Will Wilson make any move whatsoever between now and the deadline? Whether it's moving out Stalock, whether it's forgetting John Scott at the airport in Toronto, whatever it is, will any move be made before the deadline?
I can't see anything unless they're overpay.
I think they'll probably make some kind of a move. Our favorite listener, Chris Churro with a zero, pointed out that Hannon's name has been floated out there as a potential, I believe Pittsburgh has been in need of a veteran D-man, which
I figured
if we get to load another fucking traffic cone on Pittsburgh for a pair of second-round picks, oh, God, yes.
When you said Pittsburgh was in need of, I swear to God, the next word out of your mouth was a water boy.
Well, no. They like to play their traffic. They like to play their traffic cones. Like, they kind of like segment the ice. You have to skate around them a little bit. They
like Doug Murray.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like we already got Doug Murray pawned off on them for way more than he was worth at the time. If we could dump Hannon for anything, honestly, I would take it. Even if it's just punting and getting picks for him, because I don't see this team going anywhere. So if we can flip a old player who has no future with this team for assets, go for it.
At this point, I'm willing to trade Hannon for somebody who knows how to scout and draft defensemen in the first 3 rounds.
Amen, brother. Because obviously they cannot draft defensemen outside Marc-Edouard Vlasic. And, yeah, that would be your best bet to get something out of it. If they could get a trade for Hannon for anything like from a 3rd-round pick upward, that is a steal and a half.
Good luck.
Yeah, please.
Well,
yeah, if we can just get like a 2nd or 3rd rounder for him, I'll be happy.
Rounders, yeah.
I cannot see them getting anything more than a 4th. I mean, you're talking about, 37-year-old defenseman who's a 5'6" guy at best, on the end of his deal. He's just finishing up a single year at $1 million. Clearly, the swan song has occurred. I can't see anybody else picking him up other than as a 7th defenseman for insurance. And let's be honest, why would you give up a 4th or 5th rounder for that when you might have something just as serviceable in your farm system?
You see, the thing is, though, almost everything you said there could have been applied to Doug Murray in 2013.
Right.
I was shocked anyone would offer anything for him. Let alone
because of
two 2nd-round picks. Like at the time, I was a huge Doug Murray fan. I love Douglas Murray, but at that time he was atrocious. He was, he could not skate or move at all. And
is he even in the league anymore?
No, he's
for the Canadians, I think, right?
In Germany right now. Yeah, he's in the German league, I believe. And in the last picture I think I saw him before he signed with the German league, he was chilling in a spa with two ladies on each arm. So the former boyfriend for the ex-wife of Tiger Woods, living it up, I guess, in semi-retirement. But
there's no accounting for the taste of Swedish people. I'm just saying.
That kind of makes my point, though. if we could get freaking anything for Murray, okay, I'm not going to say we can get a second-round pick for Hannon, but honestly, yeah, I don't think any of us thought Douglas Murray would fetch one second-round pick, let alone, well, one in a conditional.
I say the best you get is a fourth.
I would tend to agree with you, but again, history is
stranger
things have happened. Yeah.
I mean, did we all agree that David Perron was worth a first-round pick? I would say not. I would have said maybe a second-rounder.
Well, it's one of those things where looking at it at the day that it happens versus hindsight, because obviously if you look at what the Sharks gave up to get Bill Guerin, a lot of people at the time said, "Oh, that's a good deal. You make that deal." In hindsight, you go, "Holy crap, what an awful deal that was." Kind of the same thing with Campbell. A lot of people thought they gave up way too much for Campbell, but there were a few people that said, "This is going to be the guy. This is the puck-moving defenseman that the Sharks have been looking for so long. This is the time to make this deal," and that didn't work out so well either. So hindsight is a bitch. A lot of people thought that Colorado got fleeced in the deal for Gagliardi and Winnick for McGinn. A lot of people thought San Jose that it was
Who thought that?
No, there was a lot of people that said that overall. I don't know somebody. I mean, there was a few people that said that's a good deal at the time. I'm saying, like, the day that it happened.
It's a good deal.
There was a couple people on the NHL Network. I remember when they announced it. I don't remember exactly who, but I remember hearing that this is a good deal for both clubs overall. But one guy says, if you're going to say that any team did better in the deal at this, as it stands, it would be San Jose because they got more out of it. And as it stands,
I could understand that, because I don't think you could ever say, even at the time, that we fleeced them.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a hindsight thing. It's real easy to look back and go, oh, they got fleeced or they didn't get fleeced. A lot of people would say that San Jose fleeced Boston, trading Sturm, Primo, and Stewart for Thornton. You'd be hard pressed to find anybody. But if the skates are on the other foot, what would you rather have, Thornton or a Stanley Cup 5 years later?
Well,
I know, but I mean, it's just one of the moves that they made, and it just goes to show that you can trade a superstar, a huge name, and it can help lead you to better things. I know a lot of people seem to be. No one wants to trade Thornton. No one wants to trade Marleau, but who knows what they get in return for those guys could lead you to the promised land in 4 or 5 seasons.
It proves you can trade a superstar. It does not prove that trading a superstar can lead you to the promised land. That was not.
I'm not saying that it
had very little to do with why they won that Stanley Cup. That was only a very small part.
It was one of them.
Yeah.
But one of the things
I would still say, even after that, we still fleeced them in that trade. We won that trade.
Oh, absolutely.
Just saying.
Well, Primo wasn't around too much longer. Stewart, I think, was traded not even a year later, and.
But what did Boston get?
Was pretty much the only one that stayed there, and I don't think he was a contributor tonight. So.
But it'd be interesting to see what Boston got in return for that.
Honestly, what that all did is it contributed to Boston moving closer to the bottom, getting more high draft picks. Yeah. So in that sense, yeah, it did contribute, but I would not put that as an example of a trade putting. I would not say that trade put them on the road to their Stanley Cup as much as it got them on the road to the bottom, which got them back on the road to the top.
I'm just talking about is the fact that you can, in this day and age, you can make a big move. That's all.
No, definitely.
It did free up space, though, for them because, if they were to have Joe Thornton and like Zdeno Chara, it would be like there's another $7 million that they don't have, and they're already in cap trouble. So in essence, you could look at it that way, where Chara would not be with the Bruins if Thornton was still in Boston. The other thing too, how we talk about deadline deal steals, and sadly we heard some news out of New Jersey today. But Ryan Clough for 2 picks. Unfortunately, he's had a heap of concussion problems, and he barely has played this season. And it sounds like he's not going to be able to play too much next season. Unfortunately for New Jersey, that's a lot of cap money they gave to him. And I would think that he's sadly going to probably be, I'm not going to speculate, but when you have those concussion problems where you're sitting out majority of seasons like Clough has since he left San Jose, you're potentially looking at maybe the end of Clough's career.
Yep, I would agree with that.
Especially the style he plays, yeah.
We do have a little bit of some. I'm having a hard time talking tonight. It's Friday. What are you going to do? So they're already tweeting out some of the quotes from the pressers. Now, file this under water is still wet. Todd McClellan believes the Sharks need intensity earlier in games.
No.
I believe really. And California could use more rain.
I'm quite honestly shocked. Like, I thought they should have let them go up 3-0 before they came back and scored 4 consecutive goals. Would have been better that way.
But see, how often has this team gotten hammered for not playing a full 60? Whether it's coming out hot in the first period and a half, getting up by 3 goals, and then gliding and coasting the rest of the game, letting the other team crawl back in, and then losing 4-3 because they played, if you want to call it, prevent defense or whatnot. The bottom line is they didn't play 60. Tonight, they were MIA for the vast majority of the first period and a decent amount of the second. It did get a little more engaged in the second. But if you look at this game tonight, you'd be hard-pressed to find a good 25-minute effort out of the Sharks tonight. What does it take for – we're already in agreement. There will be no moves made between now and the deadline. What will it take for this team to put in a 60-minute effort between now and the end of the season?
Well, one quick note on big leads, whether it's the Sharks or the other team that has them. It's been proven statistically, any team with a 2-0 plus lead automatically takes their foot off the gas. It could be the best team in the league or the worst team in the league. They just all do it. It's not something unique to the Sharks to have teams come roaring back, whether they score or not, but to have teams at least outshoot them and outplay them, because most teams will sit on a 2 plus lead.
I'll give you that, and that's why it's the most dangerous lead in hockey. I'll give you that, but then we bring it back down to when are we going to see? I'll flip the question: when are we going to see 5-6 games strung in a row where the Sharks come out with energy, with focus, with some intensity out of the gate, where they start each game, where you see the first 20 minutes, regardless of the score, they just keep the pedal down.
I definitely agree with you on that point. Like, I haven't seen them come out of the gates firing in a while. I mean, I've seen like one or two games like recently where they had like a couple good first shifts, like, and then 5 or 6 shifts in, a bad play goes, and they kind of just flatline.
See,
Yeah,
the way, when I was hearing out of your mouth was 5 or 6 shifts in, John Scott gets on the ice and they go, "Oh yeah, that asshole's still here. Okay, screw it."
Yeah, they got on the ice and remember, oh yeah, it's us.
And you never see them get off to a very good start either. I don't. When's the last time they scored within like the first 3 minutes of a game, and yeah, and for that matter, dominated. What was the last time they actually destroyed a team? Maybe the Canucks 5-1, but even then the Canucks were still in it.
The last time they destroyed a team,
I would say
Hurdle
they
had
destroyed
4
the
goals.
I would say they destroyed the Canucks. That was a pretty thorough beatdown.
Oh,
It wasn't 9-1, but that was a pretty thorough beatdown.
The last time they destroyed a team, Marty Baron retired.
Oh, too soon. But I
Which,
mean,
by the way, Marty Baron will be in Santa Clara, I believe, part of NHL Network's Stadium Series coverage next Saturday.
I mean, destroyed is somewhat subjective. I would argue, yeah, they did destroy the Canucks, but at this point, I'm not that worried about destroying anybody. I'm more worried about just if they beat every team 3-2 in overtime, I'll take that because they just need wins of any kind in any possible way right now.
True, but the point is that you also want to send them somewhat of an intimidation factor because let's be real here. Nobody is coming in, especially at home, to the Shark Tank and it's like, oh crap. It's that feeling that he had every time the Sharks would go into Joe Louis Arena for years. That, oh boy, we cannot beat these guys. I mean, we'll try like our hardest to, but it seems like we're never going to do it.
Isn't there another barn that's like that as well? I thought there was another barn that, like, lately I don't know if it was like Carolina. It was like some place that you wouldn't even think about, but they just
Florida.
had not been able. Okay, Florida. Then there you go. I'll be right back. But yeah, talk about that.
Florida and Buffalo, because I believe they've only won once in Buffalo in the team's history, and that was the first game for Joe Thornton. Florida, I think, like they've won that one game in like 6 years. And if you guys saw me get scared for a moment, I had a cat come out of nowhere to me. Maybe you can see him from there, but hi, little kitty. But
at least not a black cat. It is Friday the 13th there,
I know, but this cat, I mean, it's mostly dark hair, but I mean, there's some gray to it, so it's like, Kitty, you want to come inside? Come on, Kitty, come around. If you can't tell, I'm not in my normal area. I'm house sitting with the girlfriend in beautiful, lovely Patterson, California. Tonight.
Patterson, California. Honestly, I don't think the whole Sharks losing at Buffalo and at Florida has to do with intimidation. I just think it has to do with there's certain I don't know why they play down them. I don't think it's an intimidation thing. Like
I think
I don't think they are intimidated by those teams as much as they just play down.
It's the proverbial pedal to the metal. It's like they think we're the Sharks. We've won division titles in the past. We've made playoffs. We got this. And then they come in and Buffalo and Florida shocks them time and time again. I mean, let's be real here. It's not like Florida and Buffalo are providing huge playoff-bound rosters over the past few years. I mean, you have to have somewhat of that intimidation factor. I mean, look at Detroit and what they've done and what they've done over the years. Everybody was scared to have them come into their barn. Hell, I mean, it was a huge sell-up for years at the tank of how Detroit would come in and you knew it would be a good game. You didn't know that you'd be playing in it. There's got to be that sense of psychological sense. And when we talk about psychology in sports again, you have to have that intimidation factor. And I think the Kings have a lot of that, and maybe Chicago as well, that they come in and it's like, whoa, hang on. We got big boys coming in here tonight. And they need to kind of have that attitude, but that attitude starts by winning games and winning them decisively.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I think a lot of the reasons two teams have an intimidation factor is they won the Stanley Cup, and they both are paid teams. Like I definitely would like to see them intimidate people. I mean, I think there was a time when they were intimidating, but I think it's kind of the whole you gotta crawl before you can walk. Like they aren't. They need to start just winning games in any fashion before we can worry about them intimidating the league. At least that's my opinion.
And that's their thing, is that you want them to. The only way that they're going to do that is maybe get back to the conference final, let alone make it to the Stanley Cup final or win the cup. You know, it's almost as bad as it is with the fans, because even the fans will come in and be like, "Oh, it's the Sharks. We already know that they choke all the time. We don't have to worry about it." And it's that's kind of embarrassing. And again, I brought this up on Wednesday. You would have thought that seeing the Kings raise their cup banner would have been enough motivation for them to get up and try to do something about it. Or even in 07 when the Ducks won it, or when the Kings won it the first time around in 2012. But it seems like anything that happens, they don't do anything about it. And that's what the fans are pissed about.
I would agree. Hey, look at this. Chris, am I the right color now, or am I still John Boehner?
Not quite.
Okay.
Try 0066.
No. I'm talking about the actual color of my face, because when Chris and I first got on, I looked like John Boehner, like in a huge way.
Like you were lucky you have a leather seat behind you. You would have.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing about watching the State of the Union is honestly like I just see like this empty suit behind President Obama, and it's like I just see this suit and like this hair floating. I don't even see a face because it just kind of blends into leather there.
But I'm okay now.
Let's not go on a political side thing because.
But I'm okay now.
But yes, you look a lot better. Did you put your makeup on, AJ?
You know what it is? I think I stepped out of frame and like that reset the camera or something. I don't know what the hell is going on. Okay, so I'm out of topics at this point. I'm not sure else what to talk about. I'm kind of bored, or I don't want to say bored. I'm bummed.
What?
I didn't mean that. Shut the fuck up for a second. I didn't mean it like that. No, I'm kind of bummed that the last few Pucknologies that we've done, we've had a bit more interaction either on Twitter or in the Google chat. So there really hasn't been a lot going on tonight. So do we look ahead, boys, towards Tampa Bay on Sunday?
Well, I don't want to scare anybody by doing my Dave Mishkin impersonation, but that might be a good idea. It is a rare matinee game, Sunday at 5 p.m. The Sharks will take on the Tampa Bay Lightning, and Stamkos comes to town with his boys, and probably one of the nicest lines out there with Tyler Johnson and Palat. Lighting it up for them I don't want to say out of nowhere, but these guys look really good. They're battling for the top spot in the East with Detroit. And that is the final game before the final home game before the outdoor game. Which, of course, if you've been following me on Twitter and Instagram at Huckeye14, you've noticed that I've been around a lot of the media coverage lately. Today they were getting the boards up, I believe, and they should be starting to get the water going for the ice tomorrow. But I'm digressing. But yeah, looking forward to Tampa Bay. Sorry about that. We'll talk about the Stadium Series in a few minutes for next. But your guys' thoughts as you head against one of the top teams in the East?
Well, I think the first thing, before we really get into that, hey, Chris, you think the Sharks are going to take advantage of the fact that they get to beat the Bishop?
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, you think they're going to be able to beat their Bishop?
So, real quick.
Uh-oh.
Dude, you keep hitting the mute, and then you might want to try it again, buddy.
Yeah,
he's trying to be really good on he's trying to be really good on the mute, and just as he started what sounded to be a very funny story, he muted himself. Really? It's okay. It's showing up that way on my Hangout, but go ahead. And nothing.
Nothing. Boo.
Try again, buddy.
I have not touched the damn. Okay. Let me go on here. So.
Okay, now you're okay because your screen was actually frozen too. So go ahead.
Okay. So. Anyway, hey John. So there's a possibility. They have Dion Phaneuf out on the trade market. Have you seen his wife, John?
Oh.
Well, we actually didn't talk Dion Phaneuf, but apparently he is out there he is being floated out there by the Leafs. He is age 29. He's owed $5.5 million.
He is a head case.
I mean, he is a head case, but honestly, we need defense.
Can we trade him for a third-round pick?
Can we trade him for Scott Hannon?
If we can trade him for Hannon and a third-round pick, boys, we might need to get that parade route map out already.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I like I said, no deal is going to happen. I don't feel that anything is going to happen between now and the deadline. We have what we have, so be it. The plan is in place.
Yeah. So we do have a little interaction here. So Crispy Churro with a 0. Would you rather see a 4-goal game from Jumbo, or have to have the Sharks never fire Tatora?
Okay. First off, we need to do that as ladies and gentlemen.
Is that a phrase?
No. You have to do it correctly, and then it's, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Would You Rather. But
it's time for Would You Rather.
So, would you rather see 4 from Jumbo or never fire Tatora? I think that isn't even a question for me. I would fire Tatora tomorrow if Jumbo could never score another goal for the rest of his life. He'd still need a shitload of assists, but he can never score a goal again if they fired Tatora tomorrow, as far as I'm concerned. Because, everything that has happened under his oversight, his tenure, his era, whatever you want to call, holy shit, has it just been bad after worse after worse.
I tend to agree with you there, because I just have this funny feeling if Jumbo Joe ever did score 4, I think we'd all be vastly disappointed. I don't think he would whip his cock out and start stroking it.
But Twitter would
I'm sorry. I know this is like telling you guys Santa Claus isn't real, but...
What? What do you mean Santa Claus isn't real? What the hell are you trying to say, Chris?
Sorry, I'm dashing hopes and dreams tonight.
Dude, you better tuck his ass back in, bro.
No. Oh, no.
I think it's bedtime for Eric.
Hey, Chris, you broke him, you fixed him.
Oh, I'm going to go hurdle on him shortly. How dare you try
You're
to
gonna
save
score me between your legs?
Hey now.
No, no, I'm gonna take your knee out like Dustin Brown did. How
Oh
dare
shit,
you?
dude!
Ooh.
Dude, my
How
knee's already
dare you?
fucked up.
You don't say that to
So
a
am
runner,
I.
bro.
My knee is already fucked up, bro.
my
Can't do
knee,
nothing.
I tore ligaments when I was 14 years old playing crap soccer at PE.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's get off this retarded shit. Nobody cares.
You get a gold
Anyway,
medal.
Nobody
Sorry,
cares.
Sorry,
Nobody
back to the
cares.
point.
Nobody cares.
Okay.
Okay, so speaking of nobody cares, the person in the Bay Area known for that terminology had an interview today with Sir Drew Remenda.
What? Wait, what? What?
I didn't hear about this.
Sports.
Oh my lord. Okay, so unfortunately, I was busy. I did not get the chance to hear the interview per se, but I saw a lot of tweets about it. Apparently, the big Radu, Jerry Radnich, had a nice, say, 20-minute segment or so with Drew Remenda. I'm dying to go and listen to it. It should be available for download on KMBR.com or whatever on their app or whatever, but it is available from what I've heard, so you can actually hear it. But from what I understood, that a lot of people thought it was a really good back and forth between him and Remenda. And you know, Gary, he's so old now, he doesn't give a shit about anything. And he kind of, from what I understand, Drew kind of maybe didn't shit on the Sharks organization per se, because Drew would never do that. But I think he, I'm speculating because, like I said, I haven't heard it yet. I'm just from what I've seen on the Twitter, but he sounded like he was, he's a little ticked off. So I'd go download that. And also for the people that will crave more Sharks when it comes to local sports media, Brody apparently, it only took, 50 games and 4.5 months, but Brody has his regular appearance now, I guess, on 95.7. I don't know what days they are because they don't promote them. They don't tweet about them until right as it's happening, so you can't make an appointment. So I guess you're forced to go download it or something. But I believe he was on. I think he was on today with the morning show. I think he does Mondays with Damon Bruce.
Right.
I'm not sure about what he does with the other guys and what days they. Like I said, it's always I think they have at least they have the same day, but the time apparently fluctuates, which is, real smart radio. So anyway, you are starting to see a little bit of media coverage. Soak it in now, because once the Sharks are out of it, you ain't going to hear about the Sharks again until next February. So there you go.
Also, both stations did a interview on Wednesday with Nabokov. Tom Tolbert had him on for 20 minutes. Damon Bruce had him on for 8 minutes. The normal 95.7 thing of, hey, what's up? Yeah, good. Okay, cool. See ya. Bye.
Yeah, exactly. No, you know what? I can already hear it in my mind. You know that for the most part, I do enjoy Damon Bruce, but his hockey stuff is a little suspect. And to me, the first thing you said to me when you said that Damon had Navi on, because I didn't hear it, was, "So are you fed up with Thornton and Marlowe too? Should they go?"
Surprisingly, I actually thought he conducted a pretty good interview, because he did a good job of talking Nabokov first, and talking about Navi stuff, not saying, "Hey, so why the Sharks choke every year?"
Yeah. Okay. Well, then good for him.
That's what I was not that that's completely unfair or totally out of bounds, but it's there's you know what I mean. There's ways to moderate and balance out your interviews, but I thought it was actually a pretty decent interview. I think he actually did a pretty good job in that. My only complaint was, it was about 8 minutes, whereas Tom Tolbert gave him 20.
Of course, they always do a better job. I'm pretty excited though to when I get the opportunity to go and listen to what Drew had to say with with Gary. And hey, you know what? One of our favorite people on the Twitter machine, Daryl Martin at KingShark49 just tweeted out he tweeted it out to us the interview between Gary and he tweeted out the link. So thank you very much, Daryl. It's very much appreciated. I can't wait to hear that. Loves me.
Yeah. Also, Tom Tolbert has had Drew Remenda on a few times. Like pretty much every time the Oilers have come to town, or we played the Oilers, he's usually had Drew Remenda on. You can find him in the KNBR archives. I mean, any interview with Drew Remenda is always worth a listen because him and Tolbert had a fantastic rapport. One of many reasons why I'm sad that Drew Remenda's gone. Because him and Tolbert just like the weekly Drew Remenda spot was one of my favorites. Like 20 minutes every Wednesday.
That was appointment radio, man.
Riffing and going at it. It was really good.
There were times, I kid you not, like if there was a time when he had Remenda on at say 4:30 that particular day, if I was in a meeting, I'm on a phone call or something like that, and I see 4:30s coming up, and I can tell that this meeting is not going to wrap up in time, I start, like intermittently hitting the mute. So and they're going, I think you have a connection problem. So I'm going, yeah, okay, I'm going to disconnect. Just send me some notes or whatever. And then, bam, I'm listening to KNBR. Love that. The only thing that was kind of a bummer was, I don't know if he still has it, but Remenda had a radio show in the off season in Saskatoon, and I would listen to it, through the internet, and I'd sit there and listen to him do 20 minutes on the Rough Riders, and I'm like, oh my God, just please talk fucking hockey, man. I don't want to hear about Canadian football.
Are you kidding me? Come on. The part of the complaint that started the whole rant with hockey in the Bay Area radio was partly because I would join in talking Rough Riders on the Drew Remenda Sports Show on 650 CKLM, and I forget the other station, but it was simulcast in Saskatoon and Regina. And I was always one of his special guests because he knew I would bring it so much, and he knew he could make fun of me at the same time. So that was a fun time around with Drew when he was hosting that show. I think they've moved on to kind of have it be more Rough Rider centric because Drew would tend to bring in more of a hockey.
And this wraps up our We Miss Drew segment.
Yes, we miss you, Drew.
On a very
we should think. We should have Drew like, hey, come on, Drew, you should come on Pucknology After Dark, bro. Come on. like that's never gonna happen, but
and we'd have to promote it just so it's like on a very special Pucknology.
That's right. On a special feel-good edition of Pucknology After Dark, Drew Remenda checks in. Speaking of which, Brody, if you're out there, by all means, hello. I'm gonna have to get you on here sometime when you're not doing when the NBCSN is doing a game. We'd love to have you on for sure.
Oh, I do believe NBCSN's doing a game next Saturday.
Somebody's working in the locker room after that game.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
that'll just be Kevin Kurz.
Kind of just translation over to it now. I mean, yes, we have 3 more games beforehand, but I think we guys all agree we are getting excited for this game now that the truck is here. Now that they're building the rink. Now we saw the rendition of the artist rendition of how badass the field's actually going to look on February 21st, which is something I don't think they've ever done. I am stoked for this game. The schedule as it goes is going to be the ice should be finished by Wednesday. Thursday night, the media will get a chance to skate on it.
They said the Sharks are going to skate on it the first time on Friday afternoon, right?
Friday afternoon around 3:30, I believe, is what I have on my press notes here. Let me pull that up.
Is that open to the general public by any chance?
Not that I'm aware of, no. If it
Douchebags.
is, it'll be. If it is, it will be. Yeah, if it is, it will be very short notice if they have it. But according to the media advisory, I have it. So the Sharks will skate at 3:30. The Kings will skate at 6:30, which is kind of interesting because the Kings will get to be on the ice literally at the same time around the puck drop. The Sharks will have more sunlight out there, so that's a little interesting. I'm surprised by that.
That's pretty fucking stupid. But then again, we're talking about a team who didn't do the Navy retirement ceremony correct. But I digress. Go ahead.
Right, and then of course the game will be on February 21st. Let's put it this way.
And the weather seems to have changed significantly.
Significantly, you're looking at a high of like 71 with partly to mostly cloudy skies. So we look like we'll be a go with no delays.
Dude, I have a friend that's going to the game that was like spending like a half an hour on Amazon or on the internet looking for a teal rain slicker, just to let you know.
Blessed California weather.
And let's put it this way: if you are going to the game, I would highly invest in one of those portable. I think they call it lipstick chargers. It's something that, because with the Bluetooth that you have to use on the Levi Stadium app, along with the Wi-Fi connection, it eats your battery up. And they're 12 bucks, so you have your portable charging ready to go, so you're not running out of.
Or you go with the Mophie.
Or you go with that. No, totally. I mean, just something that'll keep your battery boost up.
This show brought to you by Mophie phone chargers.
Yeah, if only. Careful of giving free advertising. You know, people are buying for the slots on our show. We're just denying them.
Hey guys, I got a notification that Daryl sent us a question. Unfortunately, because I'm on the phone, I can't read it, so go ahead.
I was actually going to read that, actually.
Go ahead.
So, and this actually transitions pretty well to the topic I was going to bring up next. Serious question. Can someone please cross-check Jed York? Oh, God, yes, please. I was going to be bringing this up because, this is a longer show. We have the time to touch on some non-Sharks topics here.
Shit. Here comes the Kawakami Harbaugh thing.
Yes. Did anyone see or hear about the Kawakami interview or the Kawakami podcast with Jim Harbaugh? And side note there, it seems like everyone's getting podcasts like in the last few months, like Brody Brazil, Tim Kawakami.
You got Sal and Steiny. I mean, it's all over the place.
It's like it's becoming a thing. Apparently, everyone's copying it. It's like Pucknology After Dark starts, and everybody wants in on the act.
Apparently, to answer your question, I saw a bunch of people tweeting about it. Apparently, Damon Bruce and Butcher Boy had quite a phone call together today. I didn't, I was busy with work, didn't get a chance to listen, but apparently Damon Bruce went off on it quite a bit. I haven't had a chance to hear it yet, but I'm definitely interested. But yeah, it sounded like Harbaugh really basically, said that he was thrown under the bus, and thrown under the bus rather quickly, that they had already moved on. Whatever. I do. Before we get on with the rest of this, though, I do want to let you know that she did in fact find a teal rain slicker. Unfortunately, she won't be able to use it, but she did find one. So anyway, go ahead with your bad stuff. Did you hear it, Eric? The Kawakami
I heard that he was essentially gone after they lost to Seattle the second round, which of course officially ended their playoff run. Doesn't surprise me. I thought it would have been the first Seattle go-around, because that seemed like that was when the team just kind of just not really giving a damn. I think that Raider loss was the one that kind of really cemented it and the Seattle loss was the one that locked it in. And nothing you could do about it now. I think we all kind of knew that Harbaugh was pushed out the door, and you know, Jim Tom's better be the second coming of Bill Walsh. Otherwise, Jed's probably going to see the biggest attendance next Saturday that he's going to see in his stadium for quite some time.
That's a great observation.
That's actually pretty good. So I did listen to the podcast in its entirety when I was at the gym today. So a few observations. First of all, I think the media in some ways have made it sound like Harbaugh's way more aggressive about it than he was. Basically, he just mentioned in passing, like, yeah, no, I didn't really want to leave. It's the first time he's directly said, yeah, I didn't just leave, it was not mutual. It's the first time he actually completely acknowledged that it wasn't mutual.
Whoa.
And I mean, that was, big shocker right there.
Hold on. Are you legitimately saying that the Bay Area sports media blew something out of proportion? Get the fuck out of here.
Well, I think they blew it out of proportion in the sense that they made the way he put it sound more. I mean, I think their reading into it is completely correct, but he did not say fuck. He didn't come out and say fuck Jed, your motherfucker fired me.
But how awesome would that have been?
Essentially, that was the subtext in many possible ways.
Wait a minute. You wanted to was it Office Space, where the guy, and just picture me as Jim Harbaugh, and he's looking at Jed York, John York, Trent Baalke, and everybody else saying,
you could fuck off. That'd be great.
You're cool. You.
Yeah. So, there was that, and one of the more interesting comments I got, I'm going to paraphrase here because obviously I don't have the quote in front of me, but Tim Kawakami asked him something to the effect of, "Hey, what do you miss about being here?" And it was, saying, "Oh, the memories. I'm going to miss the players. I'm going to miss the loyal coaches."
Whoa.
He dropped the word, emphasis mine. But he said the loyal coaches. Now,
if I remember correctly, Tom Sula was the one coach who got a job that didn't get a congratulations.
Yeah, there's already been a lot of subtext to the whole thing, and Kit Kawakami even asked if it's awkward at Tom Sula, and Harbaugh kind of danced around the question, but I think it's pretty. I mean, honestly. None of this is breaking news. This is something we all knew about the whole Niners Harbaugh thing. We all already knew that it was not mutual. We all already knew that they planned on canning him and putting Tom Sula in there the whole time. And I'll go as far as say, he said, he was officially notified after the Seattle game that he wouldn't be back. But to be real, the Seattle game wasn't the reason why I didn't bring him back. Neither was the Raider game. Neither was even the first Seattle game. They were trying to get rid of him from week 1 when that rumor leaked out that he's lost the entire locker room. It's about to be rebellion. Like that, just from day one. They were clearly trying to get rid of his ass. Did not want him there. So
it's about the Cleveland trade.
Oh yeah, that's right. No, I've seen
exactly.
That's a good segue though. If the Sharks miss the playoffs this season, let's get this back on topic. If the Sharks miss the playoffs, is McClellan gone?
It depends. I think most likely yes. If they go with a course of trade. If Wilson manages to trade Marlowe or Thornton or both, trade Hannon and start getting more assets built up, McClellan might get an amnesty based on, hey, you tried, we're really going into rebuild mode here. But I think if the roster remains the same or better, I think he gets fired.
Or at this point, if if Wilson says, well, Todd's my guy, does Hasso fly all the way from Germany to fire Doug Wilson? Or
No.
what? Personally,
Yeah, right.
I think Todd is safe. I think possibly, if anything, Todd would have been the scapegoat last off season. But I'm trying to figure out now, guys. Outside John Scott, Melker Carlson, Ty McGinn, has Doug Wilson done anything else?
Demers Dillon.
Yeah, Demers Dillon. Outside of that, has he done anything since the trade deadline last year?
No, he lets Stewart walk. He let Boyle walk.
Stewart was traded.
Well, Stewart traded. He let Boyle walk.
Further proof that you can flip a shitty defenseman for something.
Yeah, okay, but they let what's his name? They bought out Havlat. You have the Havlat buyout. They're still on the hook for some Havlat cash. They're still on the hook for some Demers cash. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why I was telling you guys back in October I'm not excited about this season.
They're actually on the hook for 0 Havlat cash. Well, at least as far as the books that matter go. As far as operating costs go, they're on the hook. But
you know that they're still looking at that book anyway, clearly, because look, they're how much under the cap? They're not making any moves. They're not trying to do anything. So okay, fine, whatevs. But no, as far as I'm concerned, I don't. Whatever master plan Wilson has hatched to Hasso's ears, fine, whatever. My thing is a decade of this. If they miss the playoffs, Doug Wilson, he should be sweating harder than Lindsay Lohan in a liquor store. I mean, McClellan is. I mean, McClellan. I think he deserves another year. But Doug Wilson, I'm not so sure about. This is the guy who's buying the groceries, expecting a fantabulous meal. And he just, he keeps shopping at the dumpster in the back of a Mi Pueblo. I mean, come on.
Oh God! But I mean, here's the other thing, and I'm starting to lose my power, so I'm gonna be taking off myself soon. You guys can finish it up. Could you see Todd staying and Doug coming back in?
Both of them coming back?
No, I'm saying that could you see Todd stay and Doug go?
No.
Maybe. I would say that's less likely, but I would say it's not possible.
Yeah, any new GM is going to want to put his stamp on it. I mean, you look at what happened in Vancouver and everything now. It's going to be...
or even in Pittsburgh.
It does depend on the GM, though, because one of the points they did emphasize tonight is McClellan is the second fastest coach in NHL history to 300 wins.
That's the whole thing.
He is obviously doing something right. I criticize a lot of things on McClellan, but he does a lot of things really well.
Right.
Yeah,
and that can't be denied.
Yeah, no. If him and Bruce Bochy can switch places for like a year and a half, I'd be real interested. But speaking of which, let's finish up our last question here. We'll let Chris touch on something, and then we're gonna punch out. We're gonna pull the ripcord. Let you people get onto your fascinating evenings. So from the crispy churro with the zero, we have our final question. Holy crap! It just got really weird up in the East Bay. If you could pick any guest in the world to join this show for one episode, who would it be? Now, obviously, without anybody who's listened to us at all knows that my immediate thing that I'm going to pick is Alex Stalock. No, I'm just kidding. It's Drew Remenda. Yes, no, it's Remenda without a doubt. Although I think Brody Brazil would be a very close second. The only thing that puts him second is I worry that he might bring his iPod with him.
Oh, come on.
So what say you, Eric?
Oh, of course. I mean, yeah, I would like to have Drew. But I don't.
Whoa, you better rephrase that.
Oh God.
Oh my! It is Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Oh,
Hey,
my.
John. Hey, John.
If we're going to talk about that, then we'll talk about Dion Phaneuf's wife. Then.
Hang on.
Hey,
Okay.
John.
All right, so, but it's like a
Not
draft.
going to talk about that.
Remenda and Brazil are off the table. Who are you going with?
Wait! You get 2 draft picks? What the hell, AJ? You're like an
You
entry-level team here, or what?
You can have 2 as well.
Whoa.
Well, no, how about this game? If we're doing like a draft, let's do.
Just getting
Okay,
too weird.
let's do 3 rounds.
All right,
Let's do
3 rounds. 3 rounds.
3 rounds.
I'm
Snake,
3
you
rounds.
start.
3 rounds. I'm starting with Remenda. Eric, go ahead.
Oh man, that's a tough one.
Oh, somebody's writing this shit down.
Yeah, I'm.
My memory's good.
Jeez. Randy, I love you because I think you'd be a great guest too, but I gotta go with Brody. I gotta go with my bro. We're gonna do the dice roll together.
DJ Bro Dog.
So with the 3rd overall pick in the 1st round, I am going to definitely take Shark Voice. So since we're doing Snake, are we agreed we're doing Snake?
Go for it. We'll go Snake.
I think that's fair. So that means I get to pick a second time.
Yeah,
With the first pick in the 2nd round. That's a little tougher, but I'm actually I'm going to pick my favorite, Kevin Kurz.
All right.
No good consumption.
I got Kevin Kurz and Randy on my fantasy team here.
With my 5th pick overall in the, I hope that we can get them on Pucknology After Dark episode. Yours truly would like to select Jamie Baker.
Okay. Good, solid value pick.
Absolutely, it's legit.
Oh, don't start, man. Don't start.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I think they would probably say my pick is within reach, but hey, whatever.
Boy, I mean, obviously you take a lot of the guys that we're used to hearing from, but you said this is Snake, so I get 2 right now, right?
Yep, you get 2.
Okay. I have to go with Ray Ratto just so we can bombard him with questions that he will know nothing about. Just to really prove how bad he is at trying to deal with the Sharks, because it's so bad. Man,
Before you make your next pick, Jay, you ignorant slut. No.
Then you know who I would actually go with? I would probably pick. God, what is it? Unfortunately, of course, you put me on the spot with this. I can't find his name. Oh, I'm sorry. Jeff Patterson. He's one of the personalities on Team 1040 in Vancouver. Those guys do such a good job up there, and it would just be fun to talk hockey with basically the guys who do it every day, constantly. It's not something that they reluctantly dip their toe in, once a week like the guys here do. These are the guys who swim in it in an ocean of hockey. I'd pick probably Jeff Patterson or maybe Blake from Team 1040. Those guys are just really good.
Well, since that one's off the board, for my final pick, I will take James Duffy from TSN.
Oh, Chris, come on. Don't let me down, dude. Take fucking Roenick. Take him.
No.
Well, okay. Do we want to stop this at 3 rounds, or do we want to go just one more for?
Okay.
By the way, help me. I'm in the chat here. Help me fill in the rounds, AJ, so it's easier to remember. Okay.
I got it. Okay.
I got Brody.
Let's do a 4th round here as well. That way, I get my full back-to-back in the Snake.
Well, now I want Roenick, but okay.
I'm thinking for the 9th pick in this draft here, I will go with Bronick. And then with the first pick of the fourth round,
I will go with Barlow.
well, I mean, I don't think we're counting players. I think we're counting commentators. I mean, I guess if you really wanted a player, but I honestly can't think of any on the Sharks that would be that great of an interview. I'm not saying they're all terrible. I'm just saying none of them are really that lively. But my other pick, I would go actually with I'm just blanking on his name. View from the bench, Andrew Bench. Guys,
that's a good one.
Guy's actually pretty sharp. See, that's a value pick in the fourth round right there.
That's good value.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Boy, oh boy. Where do I go? Shoot, you went with Ratto, so I almost want to counter that with Pierre Maguire.
Ah! Dude, if I would allow you Doc Emmerich only because then I'd be able to get a clean shot.
What?
Oh, dude, Emmerich is the worst. I don't understand how anybody can like that. Okay, you know what? Let's jot this down because we are running long. We have to do that we have to feature that when it's one of those nights where we don't have a lot to talk about. That's something to get into about something with the broadcasters. But no, I will go on a 5-minute just rant about Doc Emmerich, man. To this day, I've never seen a motherfucker knife a puck or waffle a puck or shuttle a puck. I've never seen that happen in my life. And screaming because the puck gets within 30 feet of the net doesn't make you a good broadcaster. And screaming your ass off when icing happens as if it's the first time it's ever happened in the game of hockey. The fuck out of here. But anyway, I digress. Make your pick, sir. Please take Don Cherry.
You know what? That's a great one. I would take Graves. Graves. Heck yeah. Are you kidding me? I would take Graves.
Okay. And
I have a solid four guys. Plus, I would also take in Randy.
Okay. And for my final pick, you want to talk about getting great value at the bottom end? I will take Chelina Goldman because this is a woman who also knows beer.
Homer pick.
You know what? She talks beer as much as hockey, and I respect that. So I would take Chelina. She's a good writer. I appreciate the stuff on BASG.
So I'll for the undrafted free agents, I'll take Ted Ramey. So.
Well, of course.
Now you're taking this into a fifth rounder. Come on.
Ted doesn't
okay.
Because we already want him on the show. We're talking about people that are so far out of reach that we couldn't get.
Well, honestly, I would love to have any of these people, and I would love to have any. We're all just mostly bullshitting here, so I'm gonna read this back. Dude, I missed like one or two.
God damn you, Churro.
What did he say?
No, that he had to start this whole question thing. This turned into a 20-minute segment.
So I'm going to recap this real quick. I may need some help filling this in, and then we're going to wrap up here because Eric's battery's running low, and we're kind of stretching for content at the moment. So with the first overall pick, AJ's team is he picked Remenda with the first overall pick. Eric took Brody. I took the infamous Shark voice. And then I'll just recap each of our teams. So AJ has Remenda. He has I forget the guy's name from 1040. And Ray Ratto, and then he has Chelina Goldman. Eric has Brody. I forgot who was your fifth pick.
There were no fifth picks. It was only 4.
No.
Well, it was fifth overall.
Oh, Baker.
Yeah, Baker.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Baker. So he has Brody. He has Baker. He has a guy from TSN. I didn't catch the name because I was kind of paying attention. And is 11th overall. I wasn't listening either.
Don Cherry.
Don Cherry. Okay. Sorry. I'm doing a great job here, aren't I?
I have it all written down. I don't know what you're worried about. I took Remenda, Ratto, Patterson from TSN 1040 Vancouver, and Chelina Goldman. Eric took Brody Brazil, James Baker, James Duffy, and Don Cherry. And then Chris took Randy Hahn, Kevin Kurz, Jeremy Roenick, Andrew Bench. And you know what? Looking at those picks, if I want to be a fly on the wall at any of those get-togethers, it's Chris's.
I picked some fun ones there. And, if I said I would look up Ted Ramey, or also, I forget the dude's name, the actual editor from Fear the Fin. That guy's very, very opinionated about a lot of things.
Yeah,
anyways, so yeah, thank you, Chris Pichero with a 0. You you officially got us going for.
You ruined this segment.
Thank you. I don't know. Thank you or say screw you for bringing the whole idea up. But it's about that time. Time to wrap. It's Friday night, and we all got to pretend we have lives. Kind of. I don't really. AJ is off tonight, not DJing like he normally is. Sorry, Eric, do you have anything?
I was going to say, tomorrow's Valentine's Day, and I'm kind of, ignoring her right now, so, and she didn't want to be on camera, but, so, I don't want to get in trouble.
Yes, exactly. And
but that noise you heard was her sneezing, in case you were wondering.
Dude, let's not get him in trouble here. Let's not get poor Eric in trouble. Hey, seriously.
Anything, you get to meet her next Saturday at the Sharks Tweet Up before the Sharks Stadium Series game, which we will promote like crazy the next week. I apologize for your Instagram timelines in advance. Sharks win 4-2 over the Arizona Coyotes. They still hold down the number 2 spot in the Pacific Division. They will take on the Tampa Bay Lightning next Sunday at 5 p.m. Remember that, folks, 5 p.m. It is one of the rare times that it's not a Thursday that they will actually wear those god-awful black armor jerseys. I know, AJ, I know. Hopefully we're getting to the tail end of those horrible jerseys going, With that being said, we are now, what time is it now, 10:30? We are now 7 days, 21 hours and 30 minutes, I'm guessing here, don't hurt me if I got the math right, away from the Stadium Series. If you're not excited like I am, get some Red Bull in you. And as for Mona and my 10:50, holy crap. All right, we got to go to bed. For that being said, I'm Eric Curra, Puck Guy 14. He's AJ Strong. He is Chris JWS. Good night. Keep it real. Keep it fresh. Keep it real fresh.
Remember to subscribe below. Peace the puck out.